Yeah, yeah, yeah. Football feast, this the football feast extra podcast. Hey, football feast, football feast extra podcast. Playing soccer, grabbing cleats, playing soccer, time to meet, playing soccer, time to greet. They finna talk a lot, okay? Playing soccer, get the cleats, playing soccer, let's get it, playing soccer, let's go. Football podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Football Feast Extra podcast. We hope you had a really good Christmas and a happy New Year. We've been away for a few weeks. It's just been hectic. We've not been able to get a show together, so we do apologise for that. But we're back today, me and Billy, with a mid-season review sort of episode. We're sort of halfway through now, and we've got a good idea of how each team is doing, and we also made some predictions at the start of the season, so we can just sort of get a gauge for where this season's going to go. We've got the FA Cup at the weekend as well to go through, some interesting ties. We've also got some news about Wayne Rooney being sacked today. I mean, if you're watching this when it comes out on Wednesday, he was sacked on Tuesday. Transfer window is now officially open. We've got all of that to go through. But yeah, we're going to start with the mid-season review. We're going to start with the bottom team in the Premier League, and we're going to work our way up. So, Billy, how do you feel about Sheffield United?
They're shocking, aren't they? They're where they should be, really. They've got no chance.
It's not like they're not trying, though. I had a look at I thought, are they one of those teams that are just playing, like, just, to stay, to go down and come back up, like, yo-yo club? And I had a look at like who they brought in, and they spent a fair bit of money. They brought in that Archer from Aston Villa in the summer for 21.5 million. They brought in a few players. They spent 5 million, 5.8 on Austin Trusty. Vinny Salza, 12.5 million. Brought in Gustavo Harmer from Coventry for 17.3 million. So they're spending money.
Yeah, but they also sold their best player to Burnley.
That's true.
Before the season started.
Yeah, I don't know why you do that. Why you'd sell to your rivals, really, because Burnley, the team, so we'll get into them in a minute, but they're going to be around them. Very strange decision, but they've even changed the manager to try and stay in the league. Somebody that obviously they know, Wilder, that's done it for them before, but nothing's working for them, and they're on 9 points. It would take a miracle for them to stay up. Do you think?
Yeah, they're done. I think already. It's the goal difference between minus 34. That's a crazy amount of goals.
That battering the hands of Newcastle. I mean, I think Arsenal put 5 past them. I think it was Sheffield United. Yeah, they've taken some right beatings this season already, and
I don't think they've got any chance of survival, unfortunately.
And you know what? I really like that Archer, that coming up that they did on from Villa. He's actually looked really good. Like, considering they don't create many chances, Sheffield United, he's actually looked like a pretty good striker. So I'm sure he'll be off when they get relegated to mid-table club, maybe like someone like a Wolves. Yeah,
possibly.
Palace, maybe. So yeah, Sheffield United. So they are where we thought they would be. I think we all predicted. I would say we all predicted for them to get relegated at the start of the season. I'm pretty sure we all did.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we did.
Yeah, and it's looking that way. 19th place, we've got Burnley, who are only 2 points better off.
Yeah, which you and Baron thought they'd stay up pretty safely.
Yeah, I thought they'd do a Fulham last season, and I thought they'd end up at sort of, around that, that mid-table point. But no, they've been terrible. They've come up, they've tried to play the same way they played in the Championship. And it just goes to show. I mean, if you look at Leicester, I didn't actually realise how far clear Leicester were in the Championship this season. They're a good 10 points clear at the top. And, they play that way in the Premier League last season, and they went down. So you just cannot play the same way. Like, you have to be just more shrewd, more defensive. You have to be able to get points.
At least have a plan B is what you need. You can't go to Arsenal, Man City and Liverpool and try and outplay them. It's just madness.
Yeah,
if you're Burnley.
If you're Burnley, like for example, Tottenham, we'll get onto them a bit later, but Tottenham, they really only have a plan A at the moment, but their plan A is very good, so it works for them most of the time. So
because their team consists of Son and like Maddison's and good players. You can't do that with the team Burnley have got.
No.
And against Sheffield United or Luton, Everton's, it might work. But once you go and play your Newcastles or your Liverpools, you've got to come up with something else. Because you ain't going to outplay them, are you? You're not going to.
Yeah. Yeah, and I said it a few weeks ago, Vincent Kompany, I think he might be starting to, because Burnley have got to do something. I know you said like the other week they're not going to sack him. But if they don't and they just go down, I mean, are they going to try
a lot
something?
of money?
Yeah, they've spent a lot of money.
They spent how much did they pay for that keeper? He looks pretty good, to be fair to him.
Yeah,
but that's 20 odd mil on a keeper,
which is it's crazy for a keeper, really.
They've spent a fair bit of money, so I don't think he'll get the sack.
No, I because he's sort of revolutionised how they play football, like from Dyche to this new style. I think now if they change it, it's they're either going to have to then go to a different style. I think they're going to stick with this, even if they go down. They must be starting to put a plan into place of what happens next if they go down. But I don't think they'll sack Kompany.
No, I can't see it.
So on to 18th place, to a team that actually I think have been pretty good, considering what we thought they would do, and that's Luton Town, 15 points, only a point behind 17th place. I think, I've watched a few Luton games this season, and they've actually been really good. Like, even the games they've lost or not picked up points from, they've been not really good, but they've been in every game. They've not been absolutely battered 5, 6, 7-0 like Sheffield United. They're really physical, and they remind me of Brentford when they came up.
I'm massively surprised. Obviously, when we've done the predictions, I said they wouldn't win a game. They'd go down with record low points, which is obviously not happened already.
Yeah.
I agree. They never give up either. Like battered, well, not battered by Chelsea, but 3 down at Chelsea. I thought they was going to do it. I thought they was going to pull it back in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good sides. And I think the signing of Barkley is an absolute masterstroke.
Yeah, that is a great signing.
He's such a good player.
Even Townsend on a free. That's Premier League experience there. That
I'll tell you this right now, Barkley, take away Liverpool, City, Arsenal, probably gets in any team in the league at the moment.
You know what? I think I'd probably, on the sly maybe take him at Arsenal. I mean, you look at that midfield for Arsenal, and there's a space in there for someone like Barkley. I wouldn't like be absolutely against it. I mean, it's obviously not going to happen, but he's that good that I think he could play for us. He could play for. I think he could get in Newcastle's midfield. I mean, I know Sean Longstaff's a worker, but he can get in there. He's got talent
easily. And
you have to work hard.
I know you've just mentioned Arsenal. He's better than Havertz. I'm throwing that right out there right now. He's better than Havertz. So maybe even Liverpool at the moment, he could probably get in there. You're only probably thinking that maybe City.
Yeah, it's only City really. And I mean, even like Chelsea, Gallagher. I mean,
he gets in that. He gets in that Chelsea team all day.
Yeah. Really good.
I think he's so good.
Really good bit of
Brilliant
business.
signing. And
considering he was, he was at Nice the season before, last season, so he was sort of forgotten about. But really good bit of business that to bring him in. So fair play to Luton. They're having a go at it. What do you think? Do you think they're going to get relegated still at the end of the season? Are they going down, or do you think they survive?
I hope they stay up. I'd love to see it. I said it. I know I've predicted them they would go down, but I did say I'd hope they'd stay up, and I really hope they do.
Yeah,
but I think they can. Out of the 3 teams that came up, they look the most likely now.
They do look the most likely. And I'm looking at the teams. We'll get onto them in a minute, but I'm looking at the teams around them. There's a few on there. There's a few there that I think could get sucked into it, and we'll get onto them in a minute. But I hope Luton stay up. But they've been brilliant. They've been a breath of fresh air in the Premier League. And you know what? That game at Luton was. I mean, it was a dramatic game for us, and we won it sort of in the last seconds. But that was it was not a fun place to go. So fair play to Luton. In 17th place, we've got Everton, who may be a bit unlucky to be in 17th. Obviously, that 10-point deduction. I think they're having a great season.
Yes and no. I think they're the most likely to replace Everton. To replace Luton.
Really?
Yeah, I think they was poor. They was shocking until they got the deducted points, and then they won a few games.
Yeah,
and they've gone back to shit again. 3 on the bounce. They got spanked, didn't they? The other day, was it Wolves?
yeah, they're 3-0, I think, to Wolves. Yeah, battered.
Wolves
Who are in a
spanked
bit of
them.
form as well. Wolves are in a good bit of form.
Yeah, they are. But I just think they're in charge. I just think their team's shit.
I
It's
think
crap.
they rely too much on that Decore. He's been out for the last few weeks, and now I think they've won since he's been out.
They rely too much on the goalkeeper. If your goalkeeper's your best player, you're in trouble straight away.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, Calvert-Lewin just isn't the player he was. I mean, he gets injured all the time as well. Like, but they haven't really got a goal scorer. But that Decore is their top scorer.
Yeah, and he was never a goal scoring midfielder, was he?
No, no.
I thought he was more of a holding. So I don't know where these goals have come from.
No, but someone's got to do it.
Yeah,
yeah.
They sold Iwobi, didn't they, to Fulham.
Yeah,
Damari Gray left.
Yeah,
they're worse than they was last year. And they nearly went down last year. I think they're in big trouble.
First full season under Deitch, isn't it? This season. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, look, if you add the 10 points back on that they were deducted, they'd be on 26 points. They would.
Yeah, but then would they have won them when
12.
they won? When they won them, what was it, 3 or 4, 3 in a row, or whatever it was after that? Would they have got them if they wasn't points deducted and the crowd were right up for it, weren't they? They was getting right behind them. That bubble's burst now. They've gone back to
it's hard to say.
Shitty Everton.
The first game they played after they got their points deducted, they lost against Man United. That Garnacho overhead kick. But they were up for like that.
But another day they could have won that game. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I
think they're in big trouble.
I see. I don't think. I mean, they obviously could go down. Of course they could. I mean, they're only 1 point clear of Luton. When I look at the teams around them, I think there are other teams that are more likely to go down. I don't know. I could be wrong, but I predict Everton stay up.
So these next two teams, I had big predictions for those, and I was laughed at the beginning of the season. So I'm excited for these two. I know we're only halfway through.
Yeah. So far we've got Brentford in 16th. Yeah, I thought they would be all right. With Mbemu and Visa up front. Okay, Mbemu's is injured for 3 months. I think we're sort of, it's been a little while now, but he's still out. Obviously no Ivan Toney. They had a good start to the season. They did all right first few games, and the last few they've just fallen off a cliff.
I just think this proves how good Ivan Toney actually is. They've won 5 out of 19 games, Brentford.
Yeah,
and if Ivan Toney's in the team, they're nowhere near where they are they? They're mid-table sides.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the draws as well, some of those draws are probably wins with Toney.
Yeah, and I will say this about Toney as well: he owes them now. Like if they're in a relegation scrap, he can't go anywhere. He needs to come back and he needs to get him out of it and then go because they stuck by him.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think he will. I don't think they'll let him go because I mean, I didn't think they'd let him go anyway. And then I looked at the players that they were losing for AFCON and the Asia Cup, and they're losing their other striker. That Visa's going to the African Cup of Nations. They don't have Mbeumo. They've literally not got striker anymore. They've only got Toney. Like when he comes back, established strikers. I mean, anyway. So yeah, I can't see them wanting to sell him, and he should stick by them. And do you know what? If he turns around and says, "Oh, he wants to go," and tries to force a move, I don't really want to play like that. If I'm honest,
and also
other options
from an Ivan Toney point of view, right? Like you said, they're 16th. They're only four off the bottom 3. If he comes back and they finish mid-table, Brentford could have another 10, 20 million on him.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And when he does come back, because he's not played football for 8 months, like I know he's probably trained in his back garden or whatever, he's not going to be match fit for a while anyway. So what team is going to want to sign him? You know what I'd probably do? The deal I'd go for is sign him, but loan him back to Brentford for the rest of the season. Like, that's fair. That works out for everyone. Obviously, they can hold out for, like you said, an extra 10, 20 million if he does well for him. But I think after seeing what they did with us with the David Raya deal, where they sort of extended his contract and then loaned him, and they are sort of up for sort of deals like that. So maybe you could see where someone buys him, but then just loans him back out. I don't know if that'd happen or not, but it's an option.
Yeah, I just think he owes them. I think if he moves now, whilst they're in a bit of trouble after they stuck by him, I think it's a bit of a dick move So I think he needs to at least stay for the season, make sure they're all right, and then they can cash in on him.
Yeah, agreed. And then looking up into 15th, a point above Brentford, is Nottingham Forest. Now, Nottingham Forest, I look at that and I don't actually think they're doing that badly with the squad they've got, really.
So this is my crazy prediction at the beginning when we done our little predictions thing. I said he would be the first guy sacked, but they would be the surprise package.
Yeah.
So now Nuno's there. They've won 2 on a bounce against good sides as well.
Yeah.
They'll finish. I reckon they'll finish in the top half of the table.
The thing is, like, I saw Nottingham Forest game. I saw one of them over Christmas. There were so many games, but I saw on commentary that somebody said that Callum Hudson-Odoi barely got a start before Nuno came in. I fancy having Callum Hudson-Odoi in your squad and him not getting in your team.
I don't think he started the last game either against Man United, did he? I think it was the guy that ended up scoring, and Alanga was on the other side. I don't know if he started the first game of Nuno's start, but
he might have came on.
Pretty sure he didn't start the other day either.
But yeah, it's just a bit mad because he was like linked with Bayern Munich at one point, wasn't he? Hudson-Odoi, like, you know, as being, you know, England, people talking about him for England, and yeah, he can't even get the Nottingham Forest starting 11, which is just strange.
I think they've got a good little side, Forest. I quite like it. They just need a couple of additions. Like someone like Willy Bolly is not a Premier League centre back anymore.
Yeah,
someone to partner that Murillo, because I think he's good.
Yeah,
Morgan Gibbs White or White.
Oh, he's great.
Or is it Gibbs White? Isn't it?
Yeah,
I think he's brilliant.
He's a good player. Yeah. I don't know with Forest. I mean, they've got. I actually don't mind Matt Turner as well. He's an all right keeper. Like, he's not going to get you into Europe or anything, but I think that he's an all right keeper. Yeah, they've got a decent little squad. I really like Anthony Elanga as well. I thought that was a great signing. I joked about putting him in my fantasy team when they signed him, and was it Barron said he's getting nowhere near my fantasy team?
Then Barron put him in.
Yeah, he's actually decent. And I thought he was an alright player when he was at United. I thought he was like their best player last season, really. Like, considering, like, other than Casemiro, maybe.
And they haven't got their star striker back yet, have they? He's still out.
Yeah, he's still out.
Not going to try and pronounce his name, but
yeah. When I was doing, I did the FPL show, a few months ago. He was always talked about because he was always, getting points. So I always had to try and pronounce his name. So that's how I knew he was doing well. But yeah, fair play to Forest. We're gonna move on to 14th place, Crystal Palace. I think they'll be happy.
Say about Palace is never is.
There isn't. I think if they, well, I mean, state the obvious. If they didn't have Eze and Elise, I mean, I know they've been injured a lot this season so far, but I mean, they win you games, don't they? They're the reason that Palace aren't in a relegation battle. I mean, they still could be, but at the moment, they're looking all right in 14th.
They'll be safe. They'll be very safe. But I just hope the Roy Hodgson being the manager is the most safe choice of manager you could ever wish for.
But
this isn't we want to get top half. This isn't we want to get Europe. This is we want to stay in this league, and that is it.
But I think he is retiring at the end of the season again. I think that he gave them this season to sort stuff out. He's like, well, I'll keep you in the league for another season. You get someone in, the right person in, get the funds, whatever. I think that was the sort of deal. So if that's what he was brought in to do, then he's doing it very well.
Yeah, fair play to him. It'd be interesting to see if they get in. Obviously, Cooper's free, isn't he? And you know what I reckon? Southgate will do whatever he does with England. Hope he wins. After the Euros, he will be the next Crystal Palace manager. And
Cooper will be the England manager, or worse, Hodgson.
Oh my god. That's my little prediction.
Cooper was the youth team manager, wasn't he? The England youth team manager.
It was the under-21s, I think. Yeah.
So I don't.
That's my little prediction. I think Southgate will be the next Palace manager.
Wow. Well, we'll remember that one. See if that comes true. Southgate to Palace, but yeah, Palace. I just think, as you say, not much to say about them. Just safe, just a safe team.
Yeah.
We'll head up to 13th. Then we've got Fulham, who had an impressive win on New Year's Eve, which depressed the hell out of me, and we're in my new year. But yeah, 24 points for them. I thought they had a really poor start to the season, but you know what? That Raul Jimenez has started scoring goals again, and they'll look all right.
Very strange side, Fulham. Very strange. Could easily go to Sheffield United and lose.
Yeah, easily.
But then spank West Ham 5-0. They beat Arsenal.
Yeah.
But they could lose against any side in this league.
Yeah. They obviously beat us at Craven Cottage and got a point off us at the Emirates. They've taken 4 points off us this season. It's crazy, really. But yeah, they can go to these bottom clubs and get spanked.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is with Fulham.
Yeah, Fulham are the same as Palace, aren't they? They're safe. They're not going to be pushing for Europe. They're not going to be getting relegated. They're a safe side.
But considering they lost Mitrovic,
teams.
Considering they lost Mitrovic, I mean, no disrespect to Raul Jimenez, but for me, he's not the same level as Mitrovic. They're doing pretty well considering.
I think they're losing quite a few though in the next. I think they've lost 3 or 4 to the Africa and Asia Cups.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting to see how that affects team seasons. We'll go through that in a bit. Also, just quickly on Fulham, Alex Iwobi seems to be a central midfielder now. Like, when did that happen, and what is Marco Silva doing?
Whatever he's doing, it's working out for him at the moment. But God knows, I've never.
He can beat a man. He can beat a man, but I'd like to see Alex Iwobi in midfield. I mean, I know he's been there like all season in central midfield, but a bit of a strange one. Anyway, let's go up to a team that is doing really, really well and will definitely be happy to be in 12th place, and that's Bournemouth. That a few of us tipped to go down, I think, or be around. I think we all tipped at the bottom, the teams that came up to go down, but we thought Bournemouth would be in a bit of a scrap. 25 points in 12th place, 7 wins so far this season. Only one.
They had a really bad start as well, didn't they?
Yeah, they had a really bad start. They've only one less win than Chelsea this season so far.
I think they're brilliant. I think Solanke has been top class.
Solanke has been good. Sensei, I think it is on the wing. He's been good.
What's his name? Semenyo, been good. Philip Billings, good. Kluivert does a job when he's playing, doesn't he, as well? They defensively look better than they have done in the last few years. It's weird because Gary O'Neill's Bournemouth now, isn't he?
Gary O'Neill was Bournemouth.
He's at Wolves. He was at Bournemouth. Got sacked for no reason whatsoever. Went to Wolves.
Gary O'Neill.
He's kind of worked out well for both of them.
Yeah, it's actually been quite a good deal. But Gary O'Neill got sacked for being named Gary O'Neill and not being like a foreign manager. That's what I think.
Guardiola.
Yeah. If his name was Gary Silva, then he'd probably still be in a job. But he did nothing wrong at Bournemouth, and I think he's doing I rate him, Gary O'Neill. I think he's a good manager. But the guy at Bournemouth, to be fair to him, is doing a good job. He's getting the best out of the players. But this is the thing, and we'll get into transfers properly in a little bit, but can you see Solanke moving in January?
Yes and no. I can see him playing for a bigger club, definitely. But I don't think anyone's going to pay the money for a Dominic Solanke. I know he's been good, but I can't see. Because they're not going to let him go for cheap, are they? He's going to be
60
40,
million,
50 million.
Yeah, at least. I can see teams going saying, 25, 30. Can I get him in as sort of a rotation striker or whatever? But I can't see anyone paying. I can't see these teams making him their star player. Other than maybe a Brighton. Brighton have got the money, and I think he would be good.
But then they got this wonder kid Ferguson who never plays.
Yeah, I don't get why he's not playing Ferguson, but I think he will be off in the summer. I think that get Solanke in now, and get him sort of. I mean, they've got João Pedro as well. They'll have some real depth in it, and then they can get 80 million or whatever they want to get for Ferguson. But I think he'd be a good fit for a team like Brighton.
But then if you're Solanke right now and you're at Bournemouth and they're getting these good players in, do you want to leave for Brighton? We'll get to Brighton in a minute, but I don't know. I don't know if I would.
I mean, Brighton are in Europe. they're in 8th place now. Like they're obviously guaranteed to be challenging for Europe again. Bournemouth are having a good run, but are they going to seriously, end the season in sort of mid-table? Are they going to be sort of 15th, 16th by the end of the season? It's hard to know. Like, it's the best season Bournemouth have had in a while.
Yeah, I think they're good little sides.
Yeah, I do think that they're in good form. They have got some good players, but I do think teams are going to come sniffing around Solanke, and it's whether let's say Arsenal come in for him, because I know they need a striker. So they come in for him and say, look, we want to pay 40 million. Does Solanke then say, oh yeah, I really want to go, and start to try and force him? I don't know. I've not heard he's any rumblings like he would do that or anything. But when a team that's in the Champions League comes calling for you, and that you're in the best form of your career, you're going to try and get that move. So it'd be interesting to see what happens with him.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is Bournemouth. Yeah, I think they're safe. I don't think it goes without saying, but I think they're safe.
Yeah.
So in 11th place on 28 points is 11th place. We've got Wolves, who I think are also having a really good season. Like, considering they look really poor at the start of the season. But you know what? I did say after that game against Man United, that they look good without getting the results. And I think it's starting to click now.
I think they have been so good. I think they're the surprise team this season. I think because they lost a couple, didn't they? Nunez, Ruben went, and then what's his name? Is it Mateus? Mateus
Nunez went to City.
Can't remember his thing. That's the one.
Yeah.
So Ruben Neves went. Mateus Nunez went to Thingy. Then they lost their winger, Neto.
Oh yeah. Pedro Neto,
who was in such good form.
Yeah.
Then they lost him. He's out for probably the season, isn't he? And they've just dealt with it all. That He Chan, whatever his name is, he's been so good this season.
He has been so good, but I do wonder how he's off to the Asia Cup. I wonder how they'll cope. They're losing quite a lot of players, Wolves, actually, I've seen. So
yeah, and that Matthias Cunha as well. He's been brilliant.
Yeah, he has. They've got a lot of good players, haven't they, Wolves? A lot of good technical players.
Yeah.
And they can outplay you. Like, was it the game against Liverpool earlier in the season? I think Liverpool ended up winning, but for that first half, Wolves completely outplayed them. Wolves looked like the team in the Champions League, and not Liverpool. Liverpool, I think, then brought on Nunez and Diaz, and they sort of hit them on the counter a few times and spanked them. But Wolves ran them off the pitch in the first half, and they're capable of doing that.
I fancy him to push for Europe second half of the season.
See, I think they'll go the other way, just because of the amount of players they're losing. They're losing Aït-Nouri as well. I know it's only a month.
I just think it depends who they get. They could get a couple players in January, which they probably will do.
Yeah,
because they must have some money from the
55
and the Ruben Neves.
Yeah, 40 million.
And the Ruben Neves go in. I think they've got money there. I think they get a couple in. I think they'll push.
Okay.
In the second half of the season.
I think they'll go the other way, and Billy thinks they'll go towards the top. So we'll see who's right coming into the season. Let's go into 10th place. I'll try not to take too much pleasure with this one. We have Chelsea in 10th, level on points with Wolves, 28. In fact, they've got identical records to Wolves both. That would 20 matches played, 8 wins, 8 losses, 4 draws, exactly the same record as Wolves. So I don't know. With Chelsea, I just never think they're going to win. Sometimes they really turn it on, and then the next week they're terrible. I can't put a finger on it with Chelsea.
I just think it's building season, and Chelsea just got to kind of scrap this year. To be honest, Chelsea fans just got to scrap this year, and go again next season. It's building. Pochettino, he's doing a lot better than the other ones did at the moment. Lampard's and the rest that got sacked within that couple of year period. Graham Potter and that.
I don't know. Is he?
I think, like he says, I think he's doing better than the others with what he's got at the moment. You've got players that have come in for a lot of money, but they're not experienced guys. They're young kids.
Yeah. He's got a lot of young players in there. I just look at the table, and obviously Chelsea in 10th. They've had no European football, so they've not had, and they've got probably the biggest squad in the Premier League. in terms of depth, the amount of talent they've got. I mean, I know there's a lot of young players in there, but considering they've only had like one game a week and they're 10th, and I don't know. I mean, Pochettino's a good manager. I know he's a good manager. He was really good at Spurs. I'm sure he will. If they have to give him time because there's who else is there at this point. But I mean, for one, I think they need a striker because Jackson, just for me, like every time I watch him, we moan about Núñez, but Jackson is like dire. And that Brozier might be decent, but he needs to go out on loan. He needs to go out on loan and play every week. Sheffield United maybe. I mean, I know they've got Archer, but someone down there, Burnley, someone take him on loan for the rest of the season and let him play 90 minutes every week because he looks like an all right player, but he's just he just doesn't get the minutes.
See, my view on Chelsea is different. I think Poch is actually doing an all right job. I think he's doing a good job because when you look at the teams that they put out, if you compare them to most teams in the league, there's not that much difference. Money-wise, there's an absolute shed load of difference. But Caicedo has played, a couple of seasons in the Premier League?
Yeah.
Colwill has played a season with Brighton.
Yeah.
The goalkeeper's out. Jackson, like you said,
starting.
Jackson's fucking terrible.
He's awful.
And Kunku's just come back. Mudryk is starting to look a bit better.
Yeah. Sterling.
Cole Palmer,
yeah.
To be fair, Cole Palmer is one of the signings of the season. I'm so surprised Man City let him go. I know why they let him go, because obviously he's never going to get in a team over Foden, De Bruyne, and all them lot. But he looks a very, very good player.
I'm surprised they sold him to Chelsea.
Young as well, inexperienced.
Yeah.
Yeah. But young and inexperienced. I think he's actually doing an all right job. And I think if you give him another couple of windows, he can get rid of some of the crap that he doesn't want, because there is a lot of shit there. Get a couple of his own other players in. Lavia's got to come back. I think they need another centre-back. Thiago Silva's, 40 now?
Yeah, Thiago Silva's fair play to him though. He's still a great defender, Thiago Silva, and it's probably good he's playing next to someone inexperienced like Colwill. He's probably learning a lot there, Colwill. But yeah, I don't know. When I see Chelsea, I see a group of individuals playing football. Like when you go down to the park and there's some kids down there already playing, and you just join in and you don't really know who they are, and you're just kicking the ball around and nothing's working. That's what it looks like with Chelsea. And it looks like, when they do get a little bit of synergy, like when Mudryk has been linking up with, Jackson, and you get the odd little flash, but nothing major. Poch needs to start building that chemistry. But he does like to tinker with the lineup, doesn't he? He likes to, with the fantasy football this season, I've not picked Chelsea players really because you just don't know who's going to start. Like he just changes it every week. I've got Nkunku in my team at the minute. He's coming out because I know he's coming back from injury, but you just don't know who's going to play from one game to the next.
Yeah, I do think, like I said, though, I think this is a bit of a write-off season for him. It's, like I said, building, getting the team together. I think next season they'll be a lot better, but I actually think he's actually doing an okay job for what he's got and what he's had to. He's got a whole new team.
Yeah, fair enough. We'll see how Chelsea get on for the second half of the season. Yeah. We're into the top 10 now. So you would like to think that most of these teams have actually had all right seasons, but you'd be wrong. Newcastle are in 9th. They have been awful, absolutely terrible. I mean, they've been all right in the Champions League. Now, even though they're out, they were still all right. They performed all right. I know they've had a lot of injuries, and they've obviously lost Tonali through suspension and all that. But they have been absolutely terrible. I mean, I know that you're probably loving it.
I hope they stay terrible for next weekend.
Yeah.
And I think this is exactly what the owners want. Let me explain. I don't think they ever wanted Eddie Howe properly. They didn't think, let's get Eddie Howe, he's going to be our manager for the next 10 years. Absolutely not. They got him in because they would have kept Steve Bruce, I think. I do. I think they would have kept Steve Bruce just to keep him in the league, and then they would have got a bigger manager in the summer. The fans, obviously, they all wanted him out, didn't they? So they was like, right, we'll go in, we'll get rid of Bruce, we'll get Eddie Howe in, he'll keep us up, he'll do us a good job. Never did they expect that they'd finish in the Champions League spots.
No, there's no way.
There's no way they thought that. So now they've been like, oh, well, we can't get rid of him just yet. And he's out the Champions League. He's ninth. I don't think he's going to get... Well, he's definitely not going to get Champions League this year.
No.
I guarantee they will sack him. But at the end of the season, and a big name will be in.
But who? Which big name? Like, I can't think of any. Zidane, maybe?
Well, they want... I think they want Jose, don't they? Mourinho. I think the owners are big fans of him. And I would cry because I love Mourinho. And if he goes to Newcastle, I'll be so sad.
I don't
Ancelotti,
know. Like,
he's out of... he's leaving Madrid at the end of the season, isn't he?
Yeah, that's true. Ancelotti's probably about... Yeah, maybe. Like, I definitely, I'm with you up until there's no way they could have expected to finish in Champions League places last season. Like, there's no way because they were literally nearly relegated like the season before. And they've had a fair. I say they've had a fair go at it. They finished bottom of their group. Obviously, they beat PSG, but let's face it, PSG are an average side really at the moment in Europe. Like, they've lost a lot of players.
Yeah.
Like, they've lost Neymar, they've lost Messi. That they lost. They're losing players, and they're not, for me. They're not replacing them with similar quality. And when they beat PSG, and it was quite resounding as well. At the time, I was like, "Oh, they're beating PSG. Newcastle are gonna go into the quarterfinals or whatever." And then Dortmund battered them. Really, like, I know the score didn't show that they got battered, but it was a battering. PSG just aren't at that level at the moment, and because we don't see them every week, we just look at the name and go, it's PSG. But yeah, wasn't impressed with them at all.
I do think they brought him in just to stabilise it, give him a year or two, and then get rid of thingy. And then he's obviously got him into Europe, and they're pretty fucked now because they're like, oh, we can't do anything now. But that game last night, I'm so confused with days now and games that I've watched over this Christmas period. Was the most one-sided game of football I've seen this season. Liverpool absolutely battered them.
Yeah.
Like, that could have been 12 before half-time. They absolutely destroyed them.
Yeah, they did. It was hard to watch. But Newcastle have been like that for a few games this season. Like they've been getting... Last season, we just all had Newcastle players in our fantasy teams in our defence because they just weren't conceding. I know they've lost Pope, like, to injury, and I know they've had, like, Botman's back now. Cher was out for a little bit, but I don't know. They just don't look as solid. They don't look like the defenders of the team. And I know that they've got that Lewis Miley in there, who's 16, 17. I think he's 17. And he looks a good player. I quite like him. I think he looks like a good player. But it's just such a, he's so inexperienced, such a young player, to ask him to do that, against someone like a team like Liverpool. It's just really difficult for Newcastle. I reckon they got, this is the thing, right? If they back Howe in January and they say, right, okay, I mean, I know money's not really so much of an object to them, but if they turn around and say, right, you've got 80, 100 million or whatever to spend in January, bring in your players, then that makes me think they're going to back him, like, maybe beyond this season. But if they don't really spend in January, you can just sort of tell that they're waiting to sack him at the end of the season. Personally,
there's no way they're giving him money.
You don't think they're giving him money?
No, not at all.
I think if he loses to Sunderland in the FA Cup, I can see him getting sacked.
He could be gone. He could be gone that day after that.
Yeah. I think that as well. Like, if it was anyone else, if it was like a Macclesfield or a Huddersfield, and he got beaten in the FA Cup, it's like, it happens. You put out your second string. If he loses to Sunderland in the FA Cup, I can see, because I think that's what they're waiting for. The owners, the fans are behind Howe at the moment, and that's why they're not sacking him. But if he goes out and half-asses it against Sunderland and loses, I can see some of the fans saying, "Well,
they'll start turning soon anyway."
Did you hear the stat that was on Sky Sports? I wrote it down because I thought it was actually quite a damning one. It was said on commentary last night. Newcastle have lost more games in the last 26 days, now it was 25 days, as they did the entire of last season. So less than a month, they've lost more games than what they lost the whole of last season, which is crazy, really.
Yeah, that's pretty mad.
So that's Newcastle in ninth. Let's move on to Brighton in eighth. I think they're having a good season, actually. I don't think their performances have been very good, and they keep losing games, and I thought they'd be lower down. But actually, when you look at, they're through in Europe. They're on 30 points. They're actually not doing that badly, considering they've lost Caicedo in the summer.
I think they'll finish about 13th, 14th.
You think they'll go down, like as in down the table a bit?
Yeah, they're definitely not the same team as they was last year. It's not De Zerbi's fault. I think he's a brilliant manager. But I was like looking at the team sheet today. It's not a very good side.
No,
He's still playing Danny Welbeck up front,
which is odd because they've got João Pedro, which I know they sort of put him on the wing sometimes, and they've got Evan Ferguson, and they're using Danny Welbeck as your striker, and
it's
a bit weird.
Yeah, because I was looking at it earlier, and you've got Gross, Pascal Gross, Gilmour, and Milner as your three centre midfielders. João Pedro looks all right, but is he only looking all right because he scores a load of penalties? I don't know.
Yeah.
Webster as your centre back with Van Heck, Hinselshaw, and Estepinian, who's looked a bit awful this year, with Jason Steele in goal. It's not a very good side.
He's just come back from
West Ham
injury.
team should batter it.
Yeah, they should. You're right. I mean, they look like they're papering over cracks. You know, they've got rid of Casado and brought in Milner. Milner's obviously a Premier League player, but let's face it, he's at the end of his career. I know they've got that other kid, that youngster in midfield. So that's pretty good.
I think they've been pretty lucky with they've had real good managers. Like Potter's had a bad time at Chelsea, but he's a good manager.
Yeah.
Then De Zerbi's coming in, he's a really good manager, and he's still getting results.
Is that luck, or is that they've gone out and scouted and found the right managers? Is that, we praise them when bringing the right players?
There is that. But I can see him going down a bit. I don't see him. At the moment they're 8th, but I see him 13th.
You see him further down. Okay, fair enough. Let's go up to 7th place then. We've got Manchester United in 7th. 31 points. They're 9 points off the top 4 at the moment. They've done well to be still in sort of touch because they've been terrible. They're absolutely awful.
We could spend the whole episode just slagging them off because they are dreadful. The manager has to go. A load of players have to go. Anthony, 80 mil. It's got to be. I said it was between him and Pepe. Pepe's miles above him. That is the worst signing in Premier League history. He's so bad. I think I could defend against Anthony now. Because all he's going to do is take it past me and he's going to run back.
Yeah.
Try and do it again. He's so bad.
Oh dear. Yeah, he is terrible. And I mean, you've said it before, and I know you feel quite strongly on the whole Cristiano Ronaldo thing. Like Ten Hag forced him out. He's forced out Jadon Sancho, and there's talk that his contract is going to get terminated. So they're not going to get anything back for him after they spent 80 odd million on him as well, or 72, something like that.
I read something earlier. He wants to give Johnny Evans a new contract. He's not renewing Varane's.
To be fair, Evans
you've got two centre-backs next year. You've got Rafael Varane and you've got Johnny Evans. You go, right, I'm going to get rid of him. Johnny Evans, you're going to stay. I'm going to give you a new contract. He's a terrible manager.
I don't mind Evans staying, but to choose him over Varane, I'd keep Evans around because he's probably an experienced head in the dressing room. He can come in and do a job. I wouldn't keep him over Varane. That's crazy.
I get the bit where he's going to get rid of Varane because he's on massive wages. He's not the player he was.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. But to keep Johnny Evans in. I mean, how the hell is Johnny Evans playing for Man United in 2023?
Yeah.
We can say, he's doing a good job. He's doing decent. He should be, yes, 2024. He should be nowhere near that side. It's Man United and you've got Johnny Evans playing centre-back in 2024.
Yeah. It's
crazy.
It's awful. They've been unlucky with Lissandro Martinez's injury and thing. He's actually been a pretty good signing. It's probably Ten Hag's only good signing. The Amrabat's poor. He was all overhyped after the World Cup.
Scored one Premier League goal, hasn't he?
I think he's unlucky because I rate Højlund. I think I watch him and I think the goals are there, but it's not happening for him at the minute. Maybe it needs a different style of play. He doesn't get much service, does he? He literally gets one chance a game, and if he doesn't take it, he's not scoring. So. I don't know. I think he'll be all right. There's
very, very few players at Man United right now that can say, I'm happy with my performance this season. One of them is Dallo. I think he's really good. I really rate him.
I think Shaw's been all right as well.
He performs well. But yeah, sure. He's been injured for a while, isn't he? But he's wanted to play centre back.
He's played centre back.
And Harry Maguire. And then you drop
Maguire.
Harry Maguire, who's just won Player of the Month. He's been the reason that you haven't conceded 10 goals a game. And then you drop him. And you're playing Johnny Evans. I just thought he's gone mental. He's actually lost it.
I guess he's just trying anything. Like, he's just like, well, this isn't working. But he's dropping the wrong players. I know he's brought Eriksen back. I actually quite like Eriksen. I've always thought he was a good player, but he's not the player he was. He persists with Scott McTominay. Like, I've never known somebody to like literally be this close to be like being transferred like in the summer, and him being like the mainstay of the team, first name on the team sheet.
Yeah,
like
Rashford's been
absolutely
awful.
I think he needs a new
only
start.
Turns up 1 in 10 games.
Yeah, I think Rashford needs a new start. I think, for him and for Man United, I think that, if he went even abroad or I don't know, maybe to like somewhere like Newcastle, I just think a new start would be great for both of them, because I think that he has been bad, but he's also one of the first players scapegoated when United don't perform. Like, even though he has been really bad, I just think he needs to get away from it and just start again, and with a different fan base. I don't know.
Yeah, it's worked for Greenwood.
It worked for Greenwood, yeah. He's pulling up trees in Getafe.
Yep.
Let's move on onwards and upwards to West Ham in 6th place, above Man United and Chelsea, coming into 2024, 33 points. Yeah, they've been decent. They had a rough start as well. I thought that they were going to be in a sort of bottom half of the table this season, but actually, last few months they've been really good.
Really good transfer window. Really good.
Yeah.
To get that much money for Rice and then get Ward-Prowse, Kudos, and Alvarez in was such good business. And Bowen, I think, is so underrated. I think he's a really good player.
Yeah, he is.
Zuma's having a great season. Emerson's playing well. Ariola, how they got him from Fulham, I don't really know, because I think he's really good. Was it Fulham he was at? It was,
yeah, it was. It was at Fulham, yeah.
I think they've got really good sides. And when you've got players like Ben Rama and Fornals on your bench.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really rate them as well. So
they are good players. And obviously Paqueta, who is probably on his way out in the summer, I reckon, like, because City were for him, weren't they? And then it didn't happen, but I can see him going in the summer. But also while he's there, like, he's been a great player for them. He's got a good few assists. He's injured now. But
you just say he might leave. They might finish in Europe this season.
Yeah, they might. They're in 6th. Every chance of
6 points off it.
With the extra place, we should still get the extra place for Europe. We could be looking at 9th place being, European qualification spot.
If they win today, they're only 4 points off the top 4.
Yeah, mental.
So, be interesting.
Yeah, really good from West Ham. Let's go into 5th place then, and we've got Tottenham, who were the early league leaders. They started off really, really well, and then they lost a lot of players, didn't they? They lost Udogie for a suspension, and then Romero suspension, and I think he's now injured. Lost Maddison, suspensions for Sarr and Basuma at one point as well. Richarlison was injured for a while. They've had it quite bad, and it has derailed them. But I still think they're having a good season, and I still think Tottenham fans will be pretty happy with where they are.
Oh yeah, if you said that Tottenham you're going to be 20 games in, you're going to be 6 points off top.
1 point behind Man City and Arsenal going into the new year. They'd beat hand off.
I've said this in the previous ones. I just love watching them play. I love watching this. The way Ange plays football is brilliant. Just go at it. I think it probably will stop them getting in the top 4, just about, because I don't think they've quite got the players when, like you said, Van der Ven's out, Romero's out now. And I don't think they've got the depth when them players are out to continue challenging for the top 4. So I just think they'll finish out of it. But I love watching him play. I know after he's had a couple of windows, they're going to be right up there.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, he's even got Richarlison scoring.
I don't think anyone could do that. And I mentioned it last week or last episode anyway. That he's turned Pedro Porro into an absolute beast. He is now one of the best players in his position in the league, I would say, on form. Like he's really, really good. He the way he plays, the way he inverts, really good player. So fair play to Tottenham. We'll head up to fourth place then. We are sort of running short now on time. We've been yabbering on for an hour. We've got Arsenal in fourth on 40 points. This is going to be depressing for me. We'll let you go first.
So I had this conversation with Baron a couple of days ago. Yes, I can't remember. He's going to go. He's be sacked. He will be sacked soon. Yep. He spent too much money not to win anything. Massive amounts of money. And he's already said that no one's going to be coming in January because I think they spanked it all on Rice.
Oh, has he said that? I haven't seen that.
They spent so much. Yeah, they said that the team he's got now is going to be the team that they're going to have for the rest of the season. If you actually look at it, he's won the same amount of trophies as Ten Hag.
Yeah.
I can't see him keeping it. I can't see him. He bottled the top four 1 year. He bottled the league the year after. If he doesn't finish in the Champions League this year, he's gone.
Oh yeah, if he doesn't finish in the top four, I agree. Like the thing is that there's obviously a massive difference between getting into the top four and a top four race to a title race. And we're in danger of being out of the title race, but we weren't even in that conversation for over a decade of even, it was always about can we sneak fourth. So the fact that he's
but is it him or is it the amount of money that's been spent?
Well, it's
if Unai Emery had been given £500 million to sort that team out, do you not think you'd be at the top half of the table, top end of the table?
Well, possibly, yeah. It's very one thing I'll definitely say, and I was saying this over the weekend. He has massively overthought this approach this season because, like, what we were doing last season, right? I get it. We weren't as solid. We were conceding more goals, but this season we are so predictable. We're so boring to watch, and it would be all right if we were getting the results. Fine, don't mind being boring if we're going to win games. That's what Jose Mourinho does. He's not fun to watch, but he'll win you cups and trophies. But we're not winning that either. If we look at the way Arsenal are playing and look at the way that Tottenham are playing under Ange and ask me which style I'd rather have, 100% Ange, 100%. Because we aren't in control of games.
Watching Arsenal, there is zero plan B. If plan A doesn't work, yes, that's it. There is no... His substitutions are always like for like. He never will bring on... How many times does you're drawing or losing a game, does he have Nketiah and Jesus on the field at the same time? Never. He'll bring Jesus off and Nketiah will come on.
Although he did do it on the Fulham game. He did have them both on at the same time.
Once.
But yeah, it's not very often at all. And it's always Martinelli that's hooked off. For me, I mean, I don't want to get too much onto individual games, but for me, Saka had to be taken off in that Fulham game. He was terrible. And that's fine. Like, players can't be good all the time. He looks knackered. He looks awful. I know he scored, but he wasn't at it. Martinelli wasn't great either, but it's always Martinelli that's taken off. And I don't know. I just think that I like Trossard as a signing, but he's playing him in central midfield. And then moaning when he don't have a good game. He's not a central midfielder. Like, why are you playing him in central midfield? Look what he did for Brighton. Like, he's not a midfielder. Like, I think he's overthinking it. Like, I get that there's been, like, we brought Timber in to cover that sort of across the back line, and then he got injured for like 6 months in the first game of the season. Like, that's unlucky. Other teams have had injuries though. But the one thing for me that I don't understand, right, Zinchenko, he's not a defender. He's a midfielder for Ukraine. I would have him as a rotation central midfielder. I'd have him on the bench and I'd have him to bring on when we need a bit of creativity in central midfield. I would not have him anywhere near my back line because he can't defend.
If I was an Arsenal fan, I would want Zinchenko out of the team, let alone just out of the club. He's awful. Club.
I don't want him out of the club because I do think that he can pick a pass, and he can thread a ball like from midfield. I just don't want him having to then go back to left back. Like he's not a good defender. I don't necessarily want him starting in every game, Zinchenko, but I wouldn't mind him, oh no, we need a goal. Let's bring him on in the midfield instead of, I don't know, Havertz or something, just something a bit different. That's fine. I think he's good technically, but he's just a terrible defender.
And 100% Saka needs a good old break.
Yeah, he needs a month off or two.
He's going to be shot by the time he's 28.
Yeah,
he's going to be gone.
Shot by the time he's 25.
He can't play this many games.
Yeah,
you can't play this many games at that age with the amount of running he does, at the pace he does.
But this is the thing that I saw this online the other day. We could have brought, I think it was Kudos and Alvarez, for the same amount of money that we signed Havertz for.
You could have bought a lot of players for the money you signed Havertz for.
That's the thing, like with Havertz. Like I don't mind him as a player. Like I know he's not the greatest. I sort of see his utility in the team, but the fact we spent 60 million on him, and it's not like we're in Man City's situation where it's like, they've bought Guardiola in, but they didn't really need him. They just bought him because it's like, well, we've not spent any money. We don't really need anyone. We'll just pick up. He's got a good reputation, but we're not in that position. Like we need to spend our money smartly, and bringing in Havertz. Like, Xhaka is a better player than Havertz. We miss Xhaka. Like, massively miss Xhaka. I never thought I'd say that.
We've mentioned a few already as well. Barkley, Cole Palmer, Maddison. Yeah. All cheaper, all better.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't disagree. So, disappointing. I don't think Arsenal are going to win a league, but I didn't think we were at the start of the season. I think Barron said we were. I didn't think we would. But I still expect us to be third at the bare minimum. If we're not third, then I think we seriously need to start looking at what the next steps are, because it's not working. That's my opinion on it.
Yep.
We'll move on to the Club World Champions, Manchester City in third place. Played a game less than Arsenal. Same amount of points. They've had their worst spell of form that they've had since Pep took over, or at least since his first season. And they're still only 5 points off the top with a game in hand.
They win the league.
I think they win the league, yeah. I think they run away with it now.
Yep. Yep, definitely.
We all, other than Villa, I can't include Villa in this because they shouldn't be where they are, really. They're not expected to be there. Take them out of the occasion. Liverpool and Arsenal really were the ones, and they've not taken advantage of the opportunities they had. So Man City now are going to run away with it. It's boring, but the other teams aren't good enough.
Yeah, I think obviously we'll get to Liverpool in a minute, because they've only lost one game this season.
Yeah,
drew too many, but I still think Man City will win the league.
Yeah, and even now Haaland's injured. They actually look better. I'm not saying they are better, but they look better. They're more. They've got. I don't know. Maybe they're not as predictable without Haaland, because there's.
I think they're better without a striker altogether. I mean, that year they won it without, when Aguero was injured for the whole season, as playing De Bruyne and Foden as false nines.
Yeah,
like, it's so unpredictable. Everyone was scoring. There was interchanging everywhere. Foden was one side on the wing, and Mahrez was in here. Then they changed him over, and then Mahrez was playing in the middle. It was just so interchangeable, and no one knew what the fuck was going on.
No,
and they just battered teams. But when they've got Haaland, if you got your two centre backs, one of you stay tight to Haaland because they're gonna try and find him.
Yeah, and
then it becomes more predictable.
I think it's quite easy to pin Haaland as well. And what I mean by that is, like, once Haaland is past you and he's got the yard on you, it's very hard to get back at him. But it's I feel not quite easy, but it's more predictable. Like, you know what sort of movements he's going to make. You can defend it easier than, those false nines coming in and around and dragging you out of position. And Haaland's always going to be central. He's not going to drift out to the wing, is he? Or take defenders. No. So it's a bit easier to defend against. But obviously, if he scores a lot of goals, so obviously, he's not. I'm not saying he's easy to play against, but that sort of style, you can just predict it a little bit more.
And just to make it worse for everyone else, so like you said, worst form they've been in for ages. They're still only 5 points off the top, and they've got Kevin De Bruyne coming back.
It's a bit depressing, isn't it? And they've got no players going off to the African Cup of Nations or the Asia Cup. No players. than losing anyone.
Yep.
Yeah, I can't see anyone but City winning the league. But anyway, let's move on to second place. Aston Villa. This is a good team to talk about. What season they're having?
Unbelievable. They're so good in the transfer window as well. They've had a really good transfer window. But it's not just that either. The players that were there, Bailey, he's been fucking awesome this season.
Yeah, he has been really good. And he's not always started either. He's come off the bench a few times, but he's always good. Douglas Luiz, been really good this season. He's sort of always consistent. But even like players like Matty Cash that have just been really solid. And considering they lost Mings early, didn't they, to an injury? Yeah, Watkins.
Yeah, and I really rate Watkins. I think he can play for most of the teams in the Premier League. Really rate him.
See, I mean, his numbers are good, like, and that's what you look at, isn't it? Like, he obviously can because his numbers are there. But I look at his all-round play, and you know what? I want a striker that's got the all-round play of Jesus, but can score the goals that Watkins can. Because, like, I don't feel like he does loads. Like, his movement's good, but I don't feel like he does loads with it. But I suppose that's what you want from strikers, isn't it? You want him at the end of the chances putting the ball in the net.
Yeah, you want him to score goals, and he's scored 9 already this season. And then you say that about the all-round play as well. He's assisted 8.
Yeah. I don't know what it is with Watkins. Like, he's the one striker. Like, if I look at the ones that we've sort of linked with, like Tony, Solanke, Watkins. And then we also link with Vlahovic as well. But I look at that and I just think Watkins is, on paper, I'm just like, do I really want Watkins? They're going to want all this money for him. I mean, he probably wouldn't come to us now, considering how well Villa are doing. But he is an Arsenal fan. But I look at it.
I think it's exactly what you need. I don't think you need a striker. Arsenal need a striker that's just going to stay in the box, in and around the box. Let Saka, Odegaard, Martinelli do their thing, and just score tap-ins.
Yeah.
You don't need Jesus playing centre mid.
That's the problem, isn't it? That we have no one in the box. It's just don't ever look like we're going to score. So yeah, no, I mean, fair play to Villa. Like, obviously, and Unai Emery, what a job he's done. He obviously was sacked from Arsenal, and he's come back to the Premier League and done brilliantly with Villa.
Hell of a job. But I will say they won't finish top 4.
No, I don't think they will either.
No. Which is weird because at the beginning I said they would. Then they've done even better than I thought, but now I don't think they will.
I think they'll finish. I think they'll be top 8.
Yeah,
I think that's
top 8. Yeah,
top 8 for Villa because they just can't keep it up. They just don't have the depth. And I said this the other week. And you know what? We both got a lot of abuse on social media for our opinions on Aston Villa. And neither of us are against Villa. Like, we think they're doing a great job. We love to see Villa doing well. But the truth is they just do not have the depth. Like, they have very good first-team players, but when those players get injured, they don't have the depth to bring in to compete with the teams like City, Liverpool and Arsenal. They just don't.
Yeah. If anything, I'm supporting Villa. I want them to be in the top 4 this season because it changes it up, doesn't it? I'd like to see someone else new in there.
I'd like them in the top 4, just below us, but I'd like them in the top 4, ideally.
Watkins gets injured. Who's a close up front for him?
Exactly. Do they move Bailey there, or Diaby maybe up front? I don't really know what they do. Or if they lose him in the summer, in January.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's head on to the top of the league. Then we've got Liverpool, 45 points, 3 points clear of Villa, 5 points clear of City and Arsenal. You know what? I look at Liverpool's squad, or Liverpool's first team anyway, and I actually think that they're doing very well to be there because their midfield, for me, Szoboszlai, I like the look of him. I think he will be a good player. But I still think their midfield looks quite average. They just don't have that big presence in there that some of the other teams have. A lot of them
playing out of position as well. Like McAllister's not played in position, or he's been playing as the holding, isn't he? That's not him.
No.
I do think that, like you said, I definitely agree. I think they need a proper centre midfielder.
Yeah. And they've got Endo. I know they brought him in to play that role. He does play okay. He's obviously off to the Asia Cup.
He's as average as you get, I think, isn't he?
He's all right. I wouldn't mind him coming off the bench to sort of shore it up or whatever. But he's not gonna win you the league, I don't think.
I'll tell you what, if Liverpool had Douglas Luiz, I think they could win it.
Yeah. And the other problem that Liverpool have is, and we've spoken about it before, the Darwin Núñez problem. He should have a hat-trick yesterday or in the Newcastle game. And yeah, people say Dubravka made some good saves, but how is he just smacks it as hard as he can and just hopes for the best, really. And it just he needs to get.
He's got another half a season to prove Klopp wrong. I think he'd be off.
Yeah, I don't even know who'd take him. Like, he's a handful, but like we were saying about Watkins, if you can't finish, then we don't want you up front, really, do we? Like, you need to be able to score the goals that the teams need, and he's not doing that. But he has enough shots to do it.
Yeah, and I think this is Liverpool's big test now. They've got a couple of games without Salah.
Yeah.
You know, if they drop a few of them, City start winning, it's game over. If they can keep winning until they get Salah back, then I think they've got every chance. But I still see City just pipping them.
Yeah, same. I think the title race come sort of May will be Liverpool and City. I think Arsenal will be the best of like the rest. I think we'll be clear of fourth, but I don't think we'll be in touch with the top two. And yeah, that's the way I think it will go. I hope I'm wrong, but that's it. That is our sort of mid-season review. We're both going for Man City to win the league, and we're both going for Sheffield United, Burnley to get relegated. I don't think we're quite decided on the third one.
No,
at this point, it could be. I think you're saying sort of Everton, maybe.
Yeah, I think probably maybe Everton.
Yeah. We're going to quickly go over the FA Cup ties because this is quite a long episode. We're already sort of over an hour in, so let's talk about the big two ties that are happening. The FA Cup over the weekend. We've got Newcastle versus Sunderland. We touched on it briefly. If Eddie Howe loses, that's probably his job. How does Sunderland look going into this game? Like, I've not seen much of Sunderland recently.
I'm not looking forward to this one bit. I'm really not. Normally, I'm like, yeah, Sunderland, Newcastle, brilliant. But, yeah, I'm just not looking forward to it. Got a real bad feeling. I think we're going to be well up for it. Like, it's at the stadium, like, it's going to be a full house. I think they'll be well up for it. And we have got the players to hurt them. I just think they'll go full strength because Eddie Howe cannot lose that game.
You've got Isaac running at you.
If he makes a couple of changes, I think we could do him. But yeah, I think he'll go full strength.
I definitely think you can beat him. But yeah, I think after going out of the Carabao Cup as well, they're at the Champions League. This is their only chance for a trophy. Obviously, they're probably not going to get into Europe. Like you said, this is all they've got to play for now. I can't see them going for anything less than full strength.
But what we've got as well, we've got a new manager who absolutely no one likes. No one likes him. I mean, if he wins this, he'll be a hero.
Yeah, everyone will be on side.
So if he can somehow win this game, he would have every single Sunderland fan singing his name in the next game. I guarantee it. And he'd be set. It could change our season. Well, I say change our season. We're in the playoffs already, but I think, if he wants to get him on side, if he can win this game, he's sorted.
It does set up a good game. But who are you actually going to go for? Do you think Newcastle will win?
Well, I can't say that.
You want to
win? No.
You think Sunderland are going to win? Right. Okay.
I'm going to say Sunderland will win this game. Yeah.
5-0.
But at the time, I'm not looking forward to it as well.
Fair enough. And then the other big game is Arsenal versus Liverpool at the Emirates. I'm not looking forward to this game either. Liverpool, is not the team you want to play. They don't have Salah, which I suppose is good. I hope they put Núñez up front and he just shoots it a Raya all game. I don't know. I think that it would help to win this game, but at the same time, if we get knocked out, I think we've got bigger things to worry about. Honestly, we're still in Europe. Still need to qualify for the Champions League next season. Like, that's a must. Like, that is non-negotiable. We have to qualify next season. It does suck a bit that we keep getting these draws. Like, we had City in the third or fourth round last season. Liverpool in the third round this season. Of all the teams that are in there, and we keep drawing the big teams really early on, we never get a cup run.
Yeah,
but it is what it is, I suppose.
Yeah, I think it all depends. All depends what Liverpool do, because Klopp is definitely going to rotate.
Yeah,
and Arteta probably won't. He'll probably still play Saka.
he will rotate, but I don't think he'll rotate Saka. I think Jorginho will play.
Yeah,
Kiwi will play. We can't really rotate the centre backs either because we don't have any other ones. So yeah, we won't rotate heavily. Like we've got quite a small squad, so yeah, it'd be interesting. But I'm not particularly looking forward to it, if I'm honest.
no,
It feels like an international break, even though we're playing.
And I will just say as well, quickly on the FA Cup, who's doing it? It's ITV, isn't it?
Yeah, ITV.
Shame on you, ITV. You've picked loads of games that are on TV, and they say like 7 or 8 games.
It's quite a lot, yeah.
That are on the TV, and you haven't put Maidstone or Eastleigh on there.
Yeah,
it's shocking. Shocking. You put Man United versus Wigan.
It was an FA Cup final a few years ago.
Who's the other one? Crystal Palace game? Is it Crystal Palace Everton?
Oh, that's a Premier League. The Man City Huddersfield, I think, are on there. I mean, who wants to watch that?
Yeah, no, it's Crystal Palace Everton are on TV. Who wants to watch Crystal Palace second team versus Everton second team in an FA Cup third round when you've got non-league teams in there? That is what the FA Cup is about.
Yeah. But the thing is, though, is that
it's shocking.
How many people are going to sit down and watch a non-league team if they don't support them? If they, you know, I mean, I don't know if people watch, but not many people will. I don't think. Like, not many people are going to go, oh yeah, Eastleigh versus I don't know who they've got.
They've got 8 games on TV. They can't have one of them as the non-league team, because I guarantee you, if it was Man United versus Maidstone, that would be on TV. If it's any Premier League team versus Maidstone or Eastleigh, they'd be on TV. So I think it's shocking that you're not giving them a payday. Shocking. All for a couple more views.
Yeah.
8 games on TV and you can't give Maidstone or Newport County.
To be honest, I don't get why they can't do like a multi-choice thing, you know, where you press the red button and you select whatever you want. I don't know why they don't put more on TV.
But the FA Cup is about the little teams, isn't it? It's about the underdogs.
Yeah, it's about the giant killings and all that.
And you've got Maidstone, who are... What league are they in? I don't even know what league they're in now. But
I think the conference,
putting them on TV for that game, giving them their TV money, would sort them out for years.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And you're going to give it to Crystal Palace versus Everton. Manchester United versus... Like, Manchester United need any more money.
Yeah, exactly. They'll just waste it on someone like Anthony.
But terrible ITV. You should be ashamed of yourself.
On the FA Cup, though, and on some of these ties, do you think that the Premier League teams coming in at the third round should be seeded? Because, you don't, teams like Maidstone, if they drew Man United or Arsenal or City or any sort of Premier League team, really, they'd be buzzing with that. And like you said, that would set them up for years. That'd be on TV because it's a Premier League team. Who wants to watch Arsenal versus Liverpool in the third round of the FA Cup? Like you said, both teams will probably rotate. It'll be a shadow of the game. It should be. You want to see that game in the final where both teams are going at it trying to win a trophy. You don't want to see that early on. These teams should be seeded so they can't draw each other until the quarterfinals or whatnot.
I get that, but you've also got Newport versus Eastleigh. One of them teams are going to be in the fourth round of the cup. Yeah. Maidstone against Stevenage. That's a winnable game for Maidstone on a good day. They're in the fourth round of the FA Cup.
Yeah.
It's even Stevenage against Maidstone. Stevenage could be in the fourth round of the FA Cup. Well, they should be, because they should beat Maidstone. So I just think, I don't know, because if you seed them all, they're all out, aren't they? Before the fourth rounds.
Well, yeah, I suppose there's that. But I'm just thinking from a money point of view. But I suppose you get money for getting to the next round as well.
I do get it. Like you said, we don't want to see Liverpool Arsenal in the third round. We want to see them a bit.
Yeah, we want to see when they're both going at it.
Final. Yeah. But then it also gives these teams a chance to get a bit further as well. But I just think they should be on TV. Both of them, Eastleigh and Maidstone, should both be on TV. I think it's shocking that it's not.
Fair enough. I'm sure there's people out there that agree with you, but we'll pop that on social media, see what everyone thinks of that. And we'll just touch on the last thing we'll touch on because we are running over. Wayne Rooney sacked today as manager of Birmingham City. He lasted 13 weeks in the job. The previous manager sacked because he wasn't famous enough. Like, I can't think of another reason. They were doing really well, pushing for the playoffs. Now they are just above relegation zone. Wow.
Right, because I'm a bit thingy with this one. So you cannot sack a manager who is sixth, get someone in, ask him to change the whole way you play football, and then sack him after 13 weeks. I don't understand. If you've done that, you've made the choice. Deal with it till the end of the season. You can't bring a person in who says, "I'm going to change the whole way you play football and I need time." Okay, yeah, fair enough. We'll give you that. 13 weeks later, you're getting rid. It doesn't make any sense.
And this is the thing as well. This is, I know it's a slightly different scale, like money wise, but obviously Tom Brady's come in, probably doesn't know much about. Maybe knows a bit about football, but probably not the English game, especially at the championship level. And then you look at the Saudis that have come in at Newcastle. They've sort of, yes, okay, they got rid of Bruce because the fans didn't want him. They brought in Howe. They've sort of stayed out of it, the football stuff. They've sort of stayed out of, and I think they've handled it really, really well, like considering. But then you've got people that come in like, and you look, if you want to look even lower down, you've got Ryan Reynolds, obviously. Where's
Wrexham,
he at? Wrexham.
Wrexham.
At Wrexham, yeah, you got Ryan Reynolds at Wrexham. That obviously is doing really well with them, got them promoted. They just sort of let the managers and the football people get on with it. But Tom Brady is I don't know what he's doing. He wants too much too quickly.
I do understand when you come in, you want your own manager. We're going to get Wayne Rooney and he's a big name. But then you have to give him time. You can't give him 13 weeks.
Yeah.
If he wants to change the whole way you play football. He said that when he came in. He didn't make any excuses about it. He said, I need time for these players to understand my way. They're obviously not getting it. They're obviously not good enough to play the way he wants to play, playing out the back, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But then you can't just sack him after 13 weeks.
No,
you've made the decision. You're like an idiot now. Your whole reputation's gone with the fans.
Yeah.
Like,
they've literally
just made yourself look like
season.
a twat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know who they're going to get in, but I mean, Rooney obviously is a big name in football, but he's not a big football manager name, is he? He's a big. If I was getting Wayne Rooney in, I'd want him putting on a t-shirt and shorts and playing rather than managing.
Yeah, because to be fair, I was looking at the names that Birmingham are linked with, and they're actually linked with some good names. Tony Mowbray was one of them, we've just sacked. Jesse Marsh, who I actually quite liked.
Yeah, I quite liked him.
Cooper, I don't think Cooper's going to go there, but
no,
they're putting the effort in to get him.
Yeah, I mean, they could, admit they're wrong, and they could turn around and bring in someone and
give
then
the guy his job back.
Yeah, bring the old guy back in. But at the moment, it's sort of going the same way that Chelsea have gone, rather than the same way that Newcastle have gone. Two different ends of the scale.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they do.
Yeah.
And to see what Rooney does next as well.
Yeah, I don't know who's going to take him on. I don't know where he's going to... he's failed at the Championship. He's been abroad. Didn't really work, did it? Saudi, maybe?
He's in the Lampard and Gerrard league now, isn't he?
He might replace Gerrard in El Etifak or whatever they're called.
Yeah, he hasn't won for like 2.5 months.
And only scored 2 goals in that time as well. The team. But that is it.
Goes to show good players don't make good managers.
Yeah, definitely. 100%. That is it for this week's episode. We've got quite a lot of talking points in there. I did just want to throw out that obviously the transfer window is now open. Next week we are going to go through some transfers that we think are going to happen and talk about any that have already happened by then. Billy and Tom are back on. They're going to be recording on Thursday, but the show is going to be out on Saturday on YouTube. And they're going to do a combined team of the season so far off the back of the review that we did today, so that'll be fun.
Yep.
So don't forget to check that out. But yeah, we'll be back next week, same time on Wednesday at 5 p.m. The YouTube episode goes out, 6 p.m. on Spotify, Apple, and Amazon. We will see you all then.
Football Feast Extra podcast. Playing soccer, grabbing cleats. Playing soccer, time to meet. Playing soccer, time to greet. They finna talk a lot. Okay, playing soccer.